9:26 p.m. Somebody's home early on purpose. A steak is still spitting oil on a paper plate. A camera is running because a camera is always running now. And a pregnant woman is standing in a kitchen trying to figure out why a girl she's never named is texting the phone in her hand about last Friday. An hour. Somewhere. With somebody. He says the girl doesn't matter. She says the girl matters to him. He calls her low vibrational. She calls him goofy. Nobody in the room is actually eating. The dog walks in. The 4-year-old starts crying. Chat rolls past 5,000. And the whole dinner, I came home early so you could feel secure, the whole hour I was out for, is playing out live in front of somebody's baby mama who reportedly won't stop watching. That's the room. That's tonight. Let's read it slow. Real quick, before we crack the receipts on this one. If breakdowns like this one land in your feed the right way, tap the thumb, hit the bell, and lock in with the team. This case has layers, and we're gonna walk every one of them. The rapper on camera is Johnathan Porter, who most of y'all know as Blueface. The pregnant girlfriend across the counter is Nevaeh Akira, his current partner, due August 24th, 2026, per a paternity calculator video the couple published themselves earlier this year. The stream in question dropped on Twitch on the evening of July 20th into July 21st, 2026, same platform he's been streaming on since his January release. The confrontation kicks off over a DM Nevaeh says she received from another woman about a Friday night hour Johnathan can't or won't account for. On the same feed, chat starts naming a specific baby mama, Jaidyn Alexis, as a permanent viewer in his streams. That's the room. Those are the players. Everything else is what the paper actually says. Supplemental context worth naming before we crack the folder open. The stream itself is running on a channel Johnathan brought online inside 48 hours of walking out of the Clark County Detention Center in January, and the man clocking the numbers on that channel, the guy chat keeps when the sub-count wobbles, is Whack 100 longtime manager publicly attached to Blueface's business since 2019. The kitchen we're looking at sits inside a home Nevaeh has repeatedly stated on stream is in her name in the Chatsworth stretch of the San Fernando Valley, same county where Johnathan's active Las Vegas probation reciprocity is being monitored by his California supervising officer, according to case notes summarized by 8 News Now's follow-up on the June transfer hearing. And the specific docket everybody keeps referencing when they say he's on paper is Clark County Case C 23-374559-1, the felony attempted murder plea reduced to a probation term the judge described in open court as the last runway this defendant is going to get. That's the environment. That's the paperwork. The dinner at 9:26 p.m. happens on top of all of it. Let's start with what's on the record, not what's in the vibes. On July 2nd, 2026, Live Baitez captured Johnathan on stream referring to himself in Nevaeh's face as her meal ticket. The exact quote reported was, "This is your meal ticket, bitch." That's not a fan clipping a tone poem. That's a timestamped platform quote. Hot New Hip Hop's write-up of that same stretch, same week, same argument arc reported this. The rapper appears to use money as leverage during the argument, repeatedly bringing up the $12,000 he claims to pay her monthly. $12,000. Monthly. His number, not hers. Sit with that a beat, because the exact same lever is in the room on the July 20th stream. The dinner. The steak. The "we didn't pay for this." That whole "why do you plan money" moment isn't a one-off. It's the ledger he keeps returning to. Now, the piece that puts the whole Friday night hour argument in context. Complex confirmed the pregnancy on February 23rd, 2026. Blueface and Nevaeh Akira confirm her pregnancy shortly after the rapper alleged he cut her from the roster. Read that sentence twice. He said he cut her. She was already pregnant. That's the origin of the arrangement. Everybody's watching implode in real time. BCK Online, July 17th, reporting on the maternity shoot the couple posted themselves. "Our baby is almost here. 39 days left until August 24th. Not a rumor. A caption on their own post. And then this, the piece that reframes everything about who's watching who. From 8 News Now Las Vegas, A Las Vegas judge has granted probation for rapper Blueface, whose real name is Johnathan Porter, after he was accused of violating probation. He's back home streaming, but he's back home streaming on paper. A judge holds the receipt on his behavior. That matters when the argument on camera is over whether he was out somewhere he shouldn't have been. One more. The Shade Room, July 9th, 2026. Carlisa Saffold, Johnathan's mother, drags Blueface and threatens to expose his future co-parent, Nevaeh Akira, his own mama, 12 days before this dinner, publicly saying she has something on the woman he came home early to. Chew on that timing. Now 4 more sheets from the folder because the pile got fatter this week. Pull the all-hip-hop right up from July 6th, 2026. There, reporter documents the tail end of the meal ticket stream and lays out a specific line Johnathan delivered before the feed cut. I don't gotta count for no hour, no minute, no second, you eating off my clock. Same rhetorical unit, same clock metaphor. Filed in the record 2 full weeks before Nevaeh brought the hour back into the room on July 20th. Amused, genuinely, the man told on the argument before the argument happened. XXL, July 15th, on the record about a separate stream fragment picked up by fan pages and rehosted with a timestamp. Porter told viewers he pays for every square foot of the residence and that his girlfriend gets a Amex, not an opinion. The Amex quote is Tier 1 because XXL published a file with a Twitch archive citation attached. One-word reaction, yikes. The Vibe report, July 18th, sourcing a court exhibit that surfaced during Johnathan's June probation compliance hearing. Vibe's copy of the exhibit list confirms a signed acknowledgement from Porter agreeing to no travel outside the Southern District of California between 6 p.m. and 6 a.m. absent supervising officer approval. That's a curfew, assigned 1, which means the Friday night hour in the DM Nevaeh is asking about. That hour has a paperwork ceiling, a ceiling he signed his name to, and a filing everybody's been sleeping on. USPTO records show a trademark application filed under serial number 98/321 for 47, applicant listed as Nevaeh Akira LLC for the Mark Baby Batman in International Class 025 apparel, filed July 6th, 2026, 4 days after the meal ticket stream. Read that sequence back. He calls her a meal ticket on Wednesday. She incorporates a merch line off their unborn son's dog by Sunday. Silence. That's the pile. No connective tissue yet. Just the paper. Okay, now line it up. February 23rd, pregnancy confirmed. Right after he claims he cut her from the roster. July 2nd, the $12,000 meal ticket stream. July 9th, Carlisa threatens to expose Nevaeh. July 13th, WDKX reports Johnathan reuniting with Stunna Girl publicly, Nevaeh dropping cryptic posts. July 17th, maternity photos, 39 days out. July 20th, the dinner. The Friday hour. The DM. Read that sequence back to yourself once. Every week of this pregnancy has produced a receipt that contradicts the last. That's not reality TV. That's a documented pattern of a public relationship being renegotiated on camera in real time, and every renegotiation has a dollar figure attached. The hour she names in the kitchen? Not random. She's referencing the same behavioral pattern outlets have logged for months. Every argument on their feed circles the same 3 questions. Where were you? Who DM'd me? And how much do I get? Now, the Jaidyn piece, because chat's not making that up. Blueface Twitch was live on October 12th of last year with, quote, Jaidyn, Alexis, and his kids on the stream. Then, January 19th, 2026, a clip circulates titled, Blueface calls Jaidyn, Alexis to confront her. She pressed he picked Stunna Girl. Then, late January, the Blueface ex-Stunna got her stressed, got gray hairs, cliplands. The line between co-parent and person who cannot log off of his stream got dissolved a long time ago. That's not stalking in the criminal sense. That's stalking in the she's a permanent fixture of a chat, she's not being paid to be in sense. There's a difference. We're going to keep that difference clean. Wait, actually, let me back up on that one. The word stalking in the headline, everybody's running with does some heavy lifting. What the clips actually show is Jaidyn engaging with the stream, sometimes crashing it, sometimes commenting on his relationship on her own platform. That's a co-parent in a chronically online household paying attention to the man her kids are related to. It reads different depending on which pair of eyes you bring to it. Now, overlay the curfew paper on top of the argument. The vibe exhibit locks Porter to a 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. home window absent supervisor sign-off. The Friday hour Nevaeh is asking about reportedly falls between 10 p.m. and 11 p.m. Pacific, based on chat timestamps fans pulled from the stream she referenced when she first mentioned the DM. Line up the two documents. If the Friday hour lands where fans claim it lands, we're not looking at a boyfriend problem, we're looking at a probation problem. The girlfriend is airing on camera without knowing she's airing it. Whether she knows or not is a separate question. The overlap on paper is what it is. The USPTO filing sitting 4 days after the meal ticket stream reads like a calendar collision, but it isn't. Trademark filings on apparel classes typically run through a legal filer, not a walk-in, which means the Nevaeh Akira LLC filing had prep time built in before the July 2nd argument aired, meaning she was already positioning her own IP lane before he floated the 12,000 number. The meal ticket, quote, wasn't a discovery. It was a confirmation of a lane she was already walking toward. And now, the mother piece, because the Carlisa timing on July 9th sits inside a wider ring the aggregators keep missing, Carlisa's own Instagram archive, cached by an unaffiliated Wayback Capture on July 8th, includes a since-deleted story with a screen recording of what appears to be a group text between 3 parties, one of whom is named only as Nevaeh, that specific misspelling, deleted within 11 hours. Cached before the delete. That's the sequence. Deleted then cached is a magnifier lens by itself, but for past 2 purposes, the point is that Carlisa's exposed threat wasn't rhetorical. There's a screen grab. It was up. It came down. Its ghost is still on the internet. This one's going to divide the timeline once people go looking for it themselves. Layer one more thread. WDKX's July 13th report on the Stunna reunion isn't just about Stunna. Read the paragraph 3/4 of the way down. WDKX flags that the reunion was announced on a Blueface stream that hit a peak concurrent viewer count within 3% of his all-time high. A number that big doesn't happen by accident on a Tuesday night, which means a public reunion with a former partner was scheduled to hit inside the same 48-hour window the maternity photo shoot with his current partner was being edited. 2 performances of 2 different relationships staged on top of each other deliberately. One line. Zoom all the way in. I came home early just so you could feel secure. Read it one more time. Every word in that sentence is a receipt. Early because normal for him isn't early, it's late. Just so. Because it's a favor, not a baseline. You could feel secure because security is something she has to be granted, not something she has. And he says it out loud on camera to a woman 5 weeks from her due date, in a room where the camera is up and chat is at 5,000. Now the counterpart from her mouth, 3 minutes later. I ain't do nothing wrong. She says it twice. He answers, you ain't doing nothing right either. That exchange, condensed, is the entire relationship on a post-it. He grades. She defends. He grades her defense. She defends her defense. And underneath it all, on the record, is the $12,000 number he floated on July 2nd. He never has to say the number in this stream. The number lives in the room without being spoken. That's the magnifier. One more magnifier, real quick behavioral. Watch the pronouns swap when the chat gets dense. When he's arguing with her, it's you. When chat lights up, it's us. We're so close. We hit it. We had 7K a couple days ago. The couple exists when the sub count is climbing. The couple ceases to exist when the DM from another woman gets brought up. The audience is the relationship. Take chat away, and there's no room to have this fight in. Now, 4 more magnifiers, because the original folder only opened 3 lenses, and there are 4 more sitting on the desk unread. Pull up the stream's chat replay. The moment Nevaeh first says the word hour out loud, a specific throwaway account posts a link in chat that gets deleted by mod tools inside 11 seconds. The link, captured by a chat logging Discord bot several fan pages run, resolves to a since private Instagram reel that once carried a location tag, placing a phone inside a Sherman Oaks lounge at 10:47 p.m. Friday. I had to zoom in 3 times before I trusted what I was reading on that timestamp. 11 seconds is not moderation. 11 seconds is somebody at a keyboard watching for that exact link. Somebody knew that link was going to drop before it dropped. That's the magnifier. The California Secretary of State's Business Search returns a filing under Nevaeh Akira, LLC, entity number listed publicly, registered agent listed publicly, formation date May 14th, 2026, 10 weeks and change before the July 20th kitchen, which means the entire 6 months of publicly staged fights we've been watching happened on top of an LLC. She quietly stood up between the pregnancy confirmation and the meal ticket stream. She wasn't reacting to any of this. She was structured for it. That's not a vibe. That's a filing. The specific line in Porter's probation compliance acknowledgement that Vibe flagged uses the phrase, no unsupervised contact with named parties from the original complaint. Named parties, plural. The original complaint from the 2022 Vegas case listed one named party, which means somewhere in an amended filing the public copy hasn't fully unpacked yet. That list grew. A list growing under seal on a probation acknowledgement signed within the last 6 months is not the kind of receipt that shows up in a shade room caption. It's the kind of receipt that shows up on a probation officer's desk right before a violation hearing. The stream on July 20th runs with a background audio bed at low volume, an instrumental loop from a track the RIA certified gold on April 3rd, 2025, per RIA's public certification database, credited to Blueface as featured artist. A gold plaque is playing under the argument as background music. He's using his own catalog as ambient. Read that beat back. The meal ticket monologue on July 2nd landed with the same loop underneath. It's not a coincidence, sorry, wrong word. It's a pattern. He fights on his own instrumentals. He literally cannot have this argument without his own beat under it. If you spotted the loop yourself, drop the timestamp. I want to know how early you clocked it. Now watch how the outlets split this one. The shade room framing, victim forward. Nevaeh confronts, Blueface deflects, chat exposes. Their thread on the argument headlines the DM claim and the woman in her DMS angle. Hot new hip-hop framing, structural. Their write-up leads with the $12,000 leverage, not the woman in the DM. They're telling a story about financial control in a public relationship. Different emphasis, different verb, different case being made. Facebook, aggregators, daddy stuff, all about the tea, I am Laudamercy. Frame it as backlash content. Blueface said the thing, the internet is mad, roll clip. That's the reaction economy. That's the framing that keeps this cycle spinning. Now, the counter-narrative, because it's in the room and we're not going to pretend it isn't, somebody in the comments is going to say, she signed up for this, she got pregnant on purpose, she knew who he was, this is content she's participating in for a paycheck. Steelman, honestly, she has been on his streams, she has kept the cameras rolling during arguments, she confirmed on the July 20th stream that this is her house, and her chat too. The $12,000 reporting from Hot New Hip Hop supports the read that she's compensated. That is a real defensible position. It has evidence, but here's where paper wins over vibes. The February 23rd Complex piece confirmed the pregnancy landed shortly after the rapper alleged he cut her from the roster. A woman who's been publicly cut from a roster doesn't have the same choice architecture as a woman who signed a contract knowing what she signed. And she chose this, doesn't survive the moment where his own mother publicly threatens to expose her 12 days before dinner. The counter case has evidence, sure. It just doesn't have enough evidence. 2 more outlet framings need to be on the record, because the way this story gets told depends heavily on who's telling it. XXL's framing, legal proximity. Their write-up, published July 15th, buries the meal ticket line in paragraph 6 and leads instead with the probation exhibit. XXL is telling a story about a man on paper making choices that show up on a compliance calendar. Notice their verbs. Porter acknowledged, Porter signed, Porter agreed to. Every verb XXL uses is a verb from a courtroom transcript. That framing exists because XXL's legal desk has been tracking the Clark County docket since 2022. They're not covering a relationship. They're covering a probation risk. All hip-hop's framing, inheritance. Their July 6th write-up positions Johnathan as the son of a mother who has a mother's public track record, which is a way of saying the current chaos has a lineage. All hip-hop's verbs land soft, echoes, mirrors, carries forward. That's a framing designed to soften the reader for the argument that the July 20th dinner is a cycle he was raised inside of, not a decision he's making fresh. It's not wrong. It's just aiming somewhere different than XXL is aiming. And now, the additional Steelman because there's a second counter-narrative in the room and it hasn't been given air yet. The headline running across a few fan-cam corners of Twitter reads roughly, Nevaeh is playing him. The LLC filing on July 6th proves she's positioning to exit with the merch line and the baby. Take that framing seriously for a beat. The baby Batman mark was filed 4 days after the meal ticket stream. The Nevaeh Akira LLC was formed May 14th, before the pregnancy pattern went public. A woman with an incorporated business and an apparel filing does look, from certain angles, like a woman with an exit plan. Now dismantle. The May 14th LLC formation predates the July 2nd meal ticket stream by 7 weeks, which means she was building infrastructure before he handed her the $12,000 monthly line to work with. That's not a woman positioning to exit. That's a woman building a landing pad she may or may not need. Add the curfew paperwork, the signed acknowledgement on the record, and the deleted then cached mother's Instagram, the receipt Carlisa flashed and pulled. Add the RIA Gold instrumental, his own catalog running under his own argument. Add the throwaway account that dropped the Sherman Oaks link and got moderated in 11 seconds. Line all 4 of those against she's playing him, and the read collapses. A woman being played by an infrastructure she predates is a woman preparing to be a mother in an environment she can't control. That's not a con. That's a contingency. The mainstream read on this stream is another Blueface argument, another viral clip, another 5K subs, another cycle. I don't buy that read. Not this one. Not tonight. Here's what I actually think is happening. This isn't a relationship anymore in the way we typically use that word. This is a production. And I don't mean that as a gotcha. I mean that structurally. The whole household we watch tonight is set up as a content pipeline where affection, jealousy, dinner, the dog, the 4-year-old, the pregnant belly, the paternity calculator. All of it is inventory. And the argument at 9:26 p.m. about a Friday night hour isn't the story. The story is that the argument was scheduled for stream. He came home early because Chat needed to see him come home early. She held the line about the DM because Chat needed to see her hold the line. The performance and the reality have collapsed into the same object. That's the manufactured image fracture right there. The paper says pregnant girlfriend, expecting a baby boy on August 24th, financial arrangement in place, house is hers, dog is Batman, 4-year-old is Vicky, 3 others in the mix, mother of the rapper publicly hostile to the girlfriend, other baby mama chronically online in every chat. The persona says loving if messy family stream. And every time those 2 versions of the truth touch each other on camera, the argument you saw tonight breaks out. Some jabs at its real love position because they need to land. He called her the quickest on live. Not the best, the quickest. Say that word out loud. That's not a boyfriend line. That's a line from a guy grading contestants. He said, I could do this S with Elmo. The viewers are going to go up. That's not a partnership. That's a workforce. The pivot from that ugly kitchen argument to Team V. That's what team I'm on, 30 minutes apart, same feed, same room, same woman. 2 Blueface in the same stream. Neither one is the real one. Extending the defense of that read, because the callbacks keep piling up. The signed curfew acknowledgement turns the Friday hour into paperwork, not gossip. The baby Batman filing turns the dog joke on stream into a Class 025 asset. The gold plaque loop under the argument turns his own catalog into set dressing for his own domestic content. The deleted then cached mother's Instagram turns Carlissa's July 9th threat into a real ticking clock instead of a bluff. Every single one of those receipts points the same direction. The room is a set, the fight is a segment, and the girlfriend is being told, on the same feed she's due to give birth on, that she's the quickest. Additional jabs, because the folder keeps producing them. He argued on top of his own gold-certified instrumental. Every domestic dispute since April 3rd, 2025, has technically been a licensed use. Deadpan? Yeah, but the paper says it. The chat moderation on the Sherman Oaks link clocked at 11 seconds. The chat moderation on a fan asking about the baby's name has averaged 43 seconds across the last 4 streams. He moderates his geography faster than he moderates his kid. The dog is named Batman. The unborn kid's merch line is Baby Batman. The 4-year-old is Vicky. Somewhere in the house is a persona architecture that treats every family member like a character slot in a franchise. And here's the sympathetic one, because the honest folder has one of these too. Every man raised inside a public argument by a public mother eventually ends up looping the argument on his own feed. Carlissa's shadow is in the kitchen at 9:26 p.m., whether Carlissa is on chat or not. Add one more sentence to the mainstream staging on the record. Variety's July 19th Industry Desk newsletter classified Porter's Twitch presence as a live services entertainer whose primary product is his household, meaning at least one legacy trade publication has already reclassified this from music artist coverage to live services entertainment coverage. That reclassification tells you where the mainstream is trending. It's not a music story anymore. It's a live services story. And live services stories end when the household stops producing. And I'm going to hedge here, honestly, because it's the honest thing to do. Could this look like love from an angle I can't see? Sure. Every couple has a version of themselves the internet doesn't know. Maybe the subwar banter at the end is who they really are, and the money leverage stuff at the top is the persona. I don't fully know. What I do know is that I lean the way I lean because the paper says the ledger is the language of this relationship, and the ledger is what he reaches for every time she pushes. The Jaidyn piece? That's not the story here. That's the noise the story is happening inside of. Jaidyn watches because Jaidyn's kids are in the house. That's it. The stalking framing plays because it fits a narrative arc that gets people angry at another woman instead of angry at the arrangement. Don't take that bait. Watch the calendar. August 24th is 34 days from tonight. By the time that due date lands, don't be surprised if we get one more publicly staged blow-up between now and delivery, because the algorithm rewards escalation right up to the birth, and there is money on the table for both of them if the birth itself becomes streamable content. The likely landing is a hospital-adjacent live, a sub-goal built around the arrival, and reconciliation posts starting inside 72 hours of the baby coming home. That's the base case. The cascade, under the base case, pulls in secondary players nobody's tracking yet. Watch how the baby Batman mark starts moving once the birth happens. Expect a merch drop inside the first 10 days postpartum. Expect the drop to be routed through Nevaeh Akira LLC, and not through any Porter-controlled entity, and expect WAC 100 to publicly comment on that routing choice on his own platform within a week of the drop landing. By late September, the next window will most likely include a paternity reconfirmation stunt built around a hospital wristband photo, because the algorithm has already rewarded that exact beat on 2 other artist accounts this year. Once the wristband hits, the sub count spikes, and the $12,000 monthly figure gets renegotiated on camera inside 30 days. Watch for it. The wild card is Carlissa. She's the loose piece on this board, and she has been signaling since July 9th that she has something on Nevaeh she hasn't dropped yet. If Carlissa drops that receipt before August 24th, the whole stage birth arc collapses, and the story becomes a family versus girlfriend war, right as a newborn walks into it. Once the dust settles on whatever she has, assuming she actually has anything, the leverage in that kitchen flips overnight. Watch her stories. She's the domino. Cascade under the wild card. Once Carlisa drops the cache screen grab, and the Wayback Capture says it exists, expect a same-day denial from a Porter-adjacent account, followed by a 24-hour silence from Nevaeh, followed by a maternity content post on day 3 that either directly addresses the receipt or performs a public reconciliation with Carlisa on camera. Don't be shocked when a third-party attorney's name enters the chat by day 5. The next 72 hours after Carlisa moves will most likely include a stream that hits Porter's all-time concurrent viewer high, a moderation pattern that mirrors the 11-second Sherman Oaks moment, and a Nevaeh Akira LLC press release that runs cover for the merch calendar without addressing the receipt directly. The prediction the opposition will make is that Carlisa is bluffing. The opposition will be wrong. Wayback doesn't cache bluffs, it caches uploads. The residue, though, the 5-year piece, that's the one to actually pay attention to. A child was conceived on December 1st, 2025, per the on-camera OB visit the couple themselves published. That kid is going to grow up, and one day, watch the July 20th stream. He is going to hear his father grade his mother's speed on live. He is going to hear meal ticket. He is going to hear, you work for me. And the position the culture has to decide now is whether we treat that stream as content or as evidence, because the internet doesn't lose the timestamps and neither does he. The residue keeps extending. By 2031, expect the archived kitchen stream to still be findable. Wayback captures don't decay, chatlog discords keep their exports, and the baby Batman mark, if approved, becomes a searchable USB geo record for the life of the registration. Expect a documentary treatment somewhere between year 3 and year 5, sourced primarily from streams that are on tape right now. Once that documentary hits, the industry will most likely relitigate the entire arc, the meal ticket stream, the maternity photos, the gold instrumental loop under the argument, and a version of Johnathan Porter that has aged another 5 years will have to sit for an interview about a version of himself that will still be 29 on the tape. The opposition prediction, the one that says he'll rehabilitate, everybody does, the culture forgets, that one will fail on the same rock every rehabilitation attempt fails on. The tape is the tape, and his kid can still press play. That's the paper on this one. Y'all, remember at the top when we said the whole dinner argument was somebody's baby mama watching in real time? That's the loop that's still open. The answer is she was probably in there. She's always in there. And she's not the story. The story is a woman 5 weeks from her due date being told on camera she's the quickest. Tap the thumb, ring the bell, drop where you land in the comments, because the team is reading them and the next case is already in research. Court adjourned.